stand on. Tough on record in my city, it was friend zone. You won't never take no chain over us. Big stepping with a size 7 million zone. This the part with the white nigga, what's up? I know my picture on the wall when I took her. Extortion, baby, hope for real, you been shook up. The top so you drop and give me 50 like some push ups. Your last one brick, but really not on shit. They make excuses for you cause they hate to see me hit. Pull your contract, you gotta see the split. Ain't the way you doing splits, bitch, your pants might rip. You better do that motherfucking show inside the bitty. Maroon 5 need a verse, you better make it witty. Then we need a verse for the Swifties. Top same drop, you better drop and give them 50. Pip squeak, pipe down. You ain't in no big three. Scissor got you white down. Travis got you white down. Savage got you white down. Like your label, boy, you in a scope right now. And you gon' feel the aftermath of what I write down. I'm at the top of the mountain, so you tight now. Just had to talk with your ass, I had to hike down. Big difference between Mike then and Mike now. What the fuck is this a 20v1, nigga? What's a prince to a king? He a son, nigga. I get more love in the city that you from, nigga. Metro, shut your whole ass up and make some drums, nigga. Yeah.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Sam Odeyemi, and welcome to another edition of Points in the Paint, brought to you by 4 Fantasy Sake. While we talk all things NBA basketball, please excuse me for frequency's sake, as we talk all things NBA basketball, as it relates to NBA basketball. We might touch a little college basketball, but you guys get the drift. You've been with me for this ain't your first go around. So NBA playoffs are underway, and we kind of just want to pick off where we left off last week. Talking about some of the matchups. I believe only one team has been eliminated so far. All the first round games are still going on. So tonight, we're going to just go through and just talk about all the series and everything going on. Don't have any notes. Don't have anything. Didn't really have time to scramble together some notes. I did catch up on some of the games over the weekend and last night as well. And I'll follow some more games tonight. So I think that should be good enough to give you that spoken word off the top of the dome. So I will start in the Eastern Conference. Miami, I guess the best way is Miami. One seed Boston Celtics are playing the FC Miami Heat. The Boston Celtics currently have a 2-1 lead, and they're currently playing tonight. The 2 seed Knicks over the 7 seed Philadelphia 76ers. The Knicks have a commanding 3-1 lead on the Sixers. They played yesterday, and Game 5 is tomorrow. The 3-seeded Milwaukee Bucks are down to the 6-seeded Indiana Pacers 3-1. They played yesterday, and Game 5 is tomorrow. Cleveland and Orlando 4-5. The Cleveland Cavaliers are the 4th seed. Orlando is the 5th seed. That series is tied 2-2. Game 5 is tomorrow. All right, we jump on the Western Conference. Oklahoma City Thunder are the 1 seed, and they're playing the Pelicans. The Oklahoma City Thunder currently has a 3-0 lead over the Pelicans, and Game 4 is tonight. Denver Nuggets, the 2 seed over the 7th seeded Los Angeles Lakers, 3-1 lead for the Nuggets. Game 5 is tonight. Minnesota Timberwolves, 3 seed, defeated the Phoenix Suns last night, who were the 6th seed, 4-0. A sweep is what we call it, political terms. And that was last night. So now Minnesota plays the winner of the 2-7 matchup, which is the Denver Nuggets and Los Angeles Lakers series. And then last in the West, the Clippers are the 4th seed playing the Dallas Mavericks. That series is tied up 2-2. Game 5 is Wednesday, and they did play yesterday, I believe, so they have a couple extra days off in between games. So I'm going to bring all that back and kind of just jump back to the first series, Boston Celtics over the Miami Heat. They are currently playing tonight. I believe, and I don't want to go off the screen. I know Boston's up. Give me a second while I pull it up on something else. Boston was up 34-22 when the show started. And again, Boston's leading the series 2-1. Obviously, Miami's missing Jimmy Butler and missing Terry Rozier. So there's some big pieces there. But the Heat culture and the Heat teams, especially on the Eric Spoelstra, they're going to compete. They're going to compete regardless. So I'm not surprised that they won Miami won Game 2. 111 to 101. And I believe when I did my show last was game one was Sunday, and I did my show Monday. So then they won game two, which would have been Tuesday or Wednesday. Celtics came back and won game three, 104 to 84. That was at Miami, as the series is now games 3 and 4 are going to be played in Miami. And yeah, right, give me a second to see the score is. The score of that game is 34-24, Boston. Second quarter is just getting underway. I think Miami can probably tie up the series 2-all, maybe win the night, or win. But I think Boston ultimately will just win the series. Only thing that scares me with Boston is they rely so much on their 3-point shooting. If their 3-point shots aren't falling, Boston is definitely vulnerable. We saw that in 2022 when they played the Warriors in the finals. All of a sudden, those 3-point shots weren't falling, and you know how that goes. So yeah, I think that series could definitely go. Well, I'll have to. Oh, it can go 6. 5 wouldn't be out of the question. If Boston wins tonight, then they go back to for Boston game 5 Wednesday. But I think Miami, they just have too much grit in them. And I think they're going to battle. So I think Miami will probably get another game. It might be tonight, or possibly Wednesday at Boston. But I think the series ultimately goes 6 games. All right. So the next series is the Knicks are playing the Sixers. The Knicks are the 2 seed. The Sixers are the 7 seed. I actually thought Philadelphia would win this series, if I remember correctly, what I said last week. So I'm actually surprised they're down 3-1. I thought yesterday they would have tied it up 2-all. That just was not the case. But Knicks were able to pull it off at Philadelphia too for game 4. So now the Knicks have a 3-1 lead and going back to New York to play Tuesday for game 5 with a chance to close the series out. The Sixers, Joel Embiid's done his thing. Tyrese Maxey's doing their thing. Kelly Oubre's been a little inconsistent. Tobias Harris has really been non-existent. He's actually been outplayed by Nicholas Batum. Somebody showed that to me. On the other end, Nicholas Batum has a better plus minus, especially on the defensive end, and that shouldn't happen. They're not too far apart in age, but Tobias Harris has just pulled a no-show act. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets moved in this offseason because he typically disappears in the playoffs, and especially when they need him. That game yesterday was tough, and Philadelphia should have won that game and tied the series up. I will be looking at them in a different light. Joel Embiid is dominant. Obviously, we see that, but it's just not enough. Personally, some of the flagrant foul he had on Mitchell Robinson. I'm not sure if you saw that when he pulled his legs down from him. That was just a really dirty play. I'll just say it as it is. It's just a dirty play. You could have hurt this man. This man could have. And that big Mitchell Robinson just came back from an injury too. He had that kept him out most of the season, and you pull him down by his legs. It's not cool, bro. Obviously, and you're upset that you didn't get the foul call. So now Joel Embiid's got that dirty player label been thrown around. I've seen that on social media. And then another thing too, they were complaining about the lack of Sixer fans in Philadelphia. I didn't realize New York and Philadelphia were only 2 hours away. That's crazy that they're so close. But anyways, at the end of the day, you guys are professionals. Go and compete. If the fans are there or not, does it really have a bearing on how you're going to perform? Not really. You're getting paid millions of dollars to play. Just go out and play. Philadelphia, you guys always have an excuse. Last year when you lost with James Harden and the final and to Boston, you guys talking about you need more help. You need more help. Well, Maxey stepped up. You got Lowry. You got Buddy Hield. You got obviously some other pieces, Nicholas Batum, Tobias Harris, and Kelly Oubre. And those guys didn't show up, but some guys are just not. Those big moments can be overwhelming for them. But game 4, nonetheless, was a game you should have won. A 2-all series going back to New York. Game 5 would have set you up perfectly. And yet you didn't. And so there's that. And we'll see what happens moving forward. I think this series, might be over. I think game 5, I think Jalen Brunson goes off again. He had 47 yesterday. He went out for a 40 piece. I think he goes off again. I think other guys show out too. I think DiVincenzo has a good game. I believe Josh Hart shows out. I believe they all have they just show out. I think they put Philadelphia away because the Knicks being the 2-1, 2-7 matchup, they would play the winner of a 3-6 seeding, which would be Indiana, Milwaukee, and both of those teams, the 2 seed and the 6 seed, they both have 3-1 leads. So you don't want to waste any time, or you don't want to waste any additional games. You want to close the series out as fast as possible, get your preparation in, get your rest in, and get ready for the next series. So I think New York closes it out tomorrow, and I believe they win the series 4-1 over the Philadelphia 76ers. All right, so now I'm going to jump over to Milwaukee and Indiana. Milwaukee is a 3 seed. They're playing and they're down 3-1 to the Indiana Pacers. Giannis Antetokounmpo has been hurt. He has not played this whole series. Dame Lillard got hurt in game 3, and the Pacers won that game in overtime. Dame Lillard has a calf strain. I want to say close to an Achilles strain or something. So I think Dame's out for the series. I believe Giannis is probably out for the series. They're saying he might come back, but Giannis' injury is similar to the injury Kevin Durant had in 2019. If you guys remember, it was like a calf or Achilles strain, or it was a calf strain, and they misdiagnosed it, and then he ended up rupturing his Achilles for the Warriors in that 2019 finals. So I believe they're going to hold out Giannis for the series. Might just hold him out, maybe if I don't know if they come back and win the series at this point. I wouldn't want to risk it because if he tears his Achilles now at this point in the season, he's not coming back till next year during this time, which would, pretty much what would be the point. So if I'm Milwaukee, I'm continuing to hold Giannis out. I believe Dame's out too with this calf strain. Dame just suffered his injury. The Pacers and Bucks is really turning into a nice little rivalry. I can't remember what the season series was between those two teams, but I know it got chippy. Giannis scored that career high game, and he was mad that they gave him the wrong ball. So there's definitely some bad blood there between them. I like that Indiana's not backing down. Indiana's like, yeah, we're younger, and you guys won the championship in 2021, but hey, we're not going to back down. We're going to bring it to you. And Indiana plays at such a frantic pace too; it can wear on you. All these games, the team that I was going to say something stupid, the team that scores the higher points win, obviously, but I believe in most of the games, besides game 1, they've broken 100 points. Both teams, except the Pacers, did in game 1. So this high scoring and high tempo pace favors Indiana. And last night was more of a saying. The Pacers finished with 126. The Bucks had 113. Game 3, the Pacers had 121. Game 2, the Pacers had 125. So the Pacers increased the pace, and they've been able to win. If Milwaukee plays at a slower pace and slows the game down, I believe that favors Milwaukee. But at this point, with the injuries you had, and then Bobby Portis got ejected too in game 4, and I'm like, dude, that's not the game you want to lose your composure on. They needed you in that game. They lost by 13. They needed you. Brook Lopez did all he could, and some of the other guys, Patrick Beverley and Pat Connaughton and Malik Beasley and Jay Crowder, they did all they could. But bro, you cannot get ejected at that crucial game. You guys should be going back to Milwaukee tied up 2-2, and that should be what it is. But you didn't want to do that, so now you guys are probably going to be going to Cancun next Wednesday. Game 5 is tomorrow at Milwaukee. I believe the Pacers close it out. I just don't see any fight left in Milwaukee. Chris Middleton's been doing this thing, but he's been banged up in and out of the lineup during the series with injuries and stuff like that. Not sure if he, if what's going to happen there, but I got Indiana closing it out tomorrow. All right, the last series in the East, the Cleveland Cavaliers, who are the 4th seed, are playing the Orlando Magic, who are the 5th seed. It's 2-2. And honestly, this series has literally been whoever's the home team has won. Cavaliers won game 1 and game 2 when they were home. The Magic won game 3 and game 4 while they were home. But the thing that scares me is the Magic at home for games 3 and 4 smoked the Cleveland Pack. Like, they smoked them. They blew them out by almost 30 points both games. Game 3 was 121-83 Orlando, which was, what is that, 90? That's almost 40 points. That's 38 points. Man, that's good math. They blew them up by 38 points in game 3, and then in game 4, they beat them by 23 points. So and then game 5 is tomorrow at Cleveland. I believe Cleveland will eke that game out, but Orlando, I mean, you got to they're playing with confidence now. You know, they just smoked that Cleveland Pack in those 2 games. So they're going to come out. Franz Wagner and Banchero are going to do their things. It reminds me of that series 2008. I believe the Celtics, Atlanta's the home team, won every game in the series. I believe that might be the case. And if that is the case and it's going to go 7 games, that's fine. The winner of that series plays Boston. So, and I think Boston beats either one of these teams. So we'll see what happens there. All right, let's jump over to the Western Conference. We'll start with Oklahoma City Thunder, who are the 1 seed, playing the Pelicans. Game 4 is tonight. Thunder are up 3-0. I believe if Thunder close it out, there's no Zion. He hasn't played all series, and just the Pelicans haven't been able to crack it. Game 1 they were close, and I actually had the Pelicans winning this series. I said that. I went on the record saying that. If Zion was playing, I would definitely double down on that because I believe Zion would be a load for the Thunder down low, in foul trouble and just, but he's not there, so it is what it is. The Pelicans lost by 2 in game 1, so I'm like, all right, they could probably steal game 2 and get some momentum. But the Pelicans got smoked in game 2, 124-92. What is that? 32 by 32 points, and then they got smoked again game 3 by 21 points, and that was at home. They're at home again tonight. I don't think it matters. I think the Thunder close it out. And the Thunder move on to the second round, which they will play the winner of the Nuggets and Lakers. But again, Thunder definitely win the series. SGA has been doing this thing. Chet's been balling out for a rookie. All the other guys for Oklahoma City, both Jalen Williams, Isaiah Joe, Giddey, all the other guys are showing up too. And that OKC crowd is nuts, man. It's ferocious, like a college crowd. So definitely, I believe OKC will probably close the series out tonight. Down 3-0. I mean, what are you playing for at that point if you're the Pelicans? All right, yeah, that's funny. Favorite series, the Nuggets and the Lakers, and there's been a lot of chatter these last 4 days. The Lakers were able to avoid sweep by beating the Nuggets in game 4. Game 5 is tonight. Denver still has a 3-1 lead. I believe Denver will still close this series out. The Lakers are competitive and whatnot, but it's just not enough. Denver, I believe, is just a juggernaut. There is a little cause for concern with Denver. Jamal Murray's got a sore calf. He's actually listed as questionable for tonight. So we'll see what happens there with Murray. But this series is still the Nuggets to lose. Just the Lakers. They should have signed. They should have signed Dwight Howard in off season just for Jokic. Like literally signed Dwight and have him take up a roster spot. Sign him after the All-Star break. Have him take up a roster spot. And just have him for 5 fouls or 6 fouls on Jokic. He would have been the perfect big, even at his age. Now Dwight's like 38 or so, but he's uber athletic, and that's all he would have been done. Like, hey, we don't even need you to score, just rebound and play, defense on Jokic and just, hold the paint down. But you didn't do that. You didn't, and you wanted to roll with Christian Wood and them other guys. And hey, you make your bed, you lay in it. So I feel no sympathy for the Lakers or Laker fans. And there were a couple of Laker fans I ran into today were excited that they didn't get swept by Denver, and I'm just like, okay, well, you're still gonna get. I mean, Denver's going back home, game 5. They're probably gonna blow you out, And some of the other guys for your team don't play well in Denver, so we'll see. D'Angelo Russell's been inconsistent. Some games he's on fire. Other games, game 3 he was really bad, and everybody was ready to trade him on the spot. He showed out in game 4. It's got to be an insane amount of pressure playing in Los Angeles and playing with LeBron. If you're built for that, you could do that, cool. But some of these younger guys, man, it's got to be tough, man. Just constant. If we're not competing for a championship, constantly hearing your name dangled in trade rumors. You look at it from that perspective, I could see why it would affect your performance as a player. But Austin Reeves hasn't played that good either. Lakers have played good in this series. They just, careless turnovers and whatnot, and they just don't have an answer for Jokic. Jokic is a beast, man. They put LeBron on him. He bullies LeBron. They put Rui Hachimura on him, thinking that's going to do something. They don't do anything. AD is just not small enough. But, hey, you could have signed Dwight Howard and just had a big who could bang with him, a strong big, stuff like that. But you didn't want to do that. And like I said, you make your bed, you lay in it. I do have Denver closing this series out tonight and going on to play Minnesota in the second round, who already won. All right, Minnesota, jump over to turn my volume up. Jump over to the next matchup. Minnesota, the 3 seed, swept the Phoenix Suns, who were the 6 seed, 4-0. So I watched a lot of these games. Yesterday I watched the first half of this game. And I was tired, so I didn't stay up and watch the game. But I was hoping Minnesota would close it out. I figured they would. I saw that crossover and dunk by Anthony Edwards. Man, that player, he's a really special player. It's his time now. Passing of the guard, he's just special, man. And the whole Minnesota team. Obviously, Karl-Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert, they do their thing. But and Mike Conley, that veteran presence as a point guard. But, the other guys, Jaden McDaniels, Naz Reid, Kyle Anderson, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, those are the role players. They're coming in, making plays and playing with energy and playing defense, and it's insane, So Minnesota, there hasn't been as much hype about the T-Wolves since that 2003-2004 season when Kevin Garnett, Sam Cassell, and Latrell Sprewell played together, and I believe they lost in the Western Conference Finals to the Lakers that year with Kobe and Karl Malone and Shaq. If you guys were watching basketball all the way back then, that would have been 20 years ago? Yeah. Crazy, 20 years. But yeah, the T-Wolves, the Suns never had a chance. The closest they wore was yesterday when they lost by 6. The Suns battled Devin Booker. He battled. I watched that game. The Suns ran it, but they don't have the Phoenix doesn't have a point guard. Phoenix doesn't have any big besides Nurkic. Their roster is flawed. We said that in the beginning. You should have never traded for Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal and Devin Booker are pretty much the same player. You could have literally kept Chris Paul and kept Booker and KD. And then if you wanted to upgrade the point guard position, you could have traded Chris Paul or in his contract and maybe brought in some other pieces. You could have got a guy like Kyle Lowry at the buyout deadline, but just getting Bradley Beal, who's also a scoring guard. Devin Booker is a scoring guard. He's not a point guard. They had him play point guard, but there's 2 positions, 2 guard. You see how he is. And then KD being your, can score the ball too. Get them a point guard who can get those 2 the balls. A Jrue Holiday would have been perfect for Phoenix. A point guard, defensive minded, head of the snake, and doesn't need the offense. That'd been perfect. There was options out there. And they just didn't do it. They need size. Nurkic is big, but after Nurkic goes out and down, who do they have? Drew Eubanks, Bol. So, yeah, there's that. There's chatter that the Suns are going to fire Frank Vogel. And then now I'm reading that, hey, Frank Vogel actually asked management for a point guard, and they didn't want to listen to him. So, yeah, and that's honestly the reason why I have on pink tonight, because some people are getting their pink slips this week. So I just thought I'd get a jump start on that. I hope doesn't get fired, but there's going to be a scapegoat. So Minnesota goes on to play the winner of 2-7, like I said, which the Lakers and Nuggets. But for now, Minnesota's just playing the waiting game. All right, and so the last series that I want to touch on, the Dallas Mavericks, who are the fifth seed, are tied with the Clippers, who are the fourth seed. Kawhi Leonard is probably out for the remainder of the series. His knees probably acted up. He played games 2 and 3, and the swelling in his knee came back. And so I think he's out for the rest of the series. This series is tied 2-2. Yesterday was insane. I didn't watch the game live, but I was following along. The Clippers were up by 31 at some point. Dallas storms back. Kyrie Irving literally brings them back, storms back, and the Mavericks are winning briefly. Then Paul George hits some insane baseline three. And if you watch that in slow-mo, like the amount of balance you had to have, like just me watching from like being an athlete standpoint and dribbling at that level of speed, and then to step back and know where your feet are on the line and hit that tough fadeaway three. That was a very tough shot. He made that look easy, and the Clippers are able to prevail and tie the series up 2-2. Game 5, which is Wednesday, so they have an extra couple of days of rest. James Harden also did his thing. Russell Westbrook got ejected in Game 3 when the Mavericks won, but he didn't. But he didn't really play too well in Game 4. A lot of the role players didn't. So we'll see. Game 5 is back home, so we'll see. Like I said, there's no Kawhi, and I think that's kind of better for the Clippers because the last month of the season, Kawhi's been out anyway, just that sore knee. So other guys have kind of gotten into a rhythm, like Amir Coffey and Terrence Mann, who are getting more minutes, and so is Russ as well. So that's why I'm not surprised in Game 1 the Dallas just jumped out to that huge lead without Kawhi. Same thing in Game 4, no Kawhi, and they jump out to this huge lead because they're so used to playing with these people. And when Kawhi does come back, I wouldn't want to force him into the starting lineup because you got to adjust. I would just bring him off the bench and I'm like, hey, because that way you can monitor his minutes. If he can give me 15, 20 minutes a night, so be it. But other than that, it'd just be easier to kind of manage him coming off the bench. But we'll see what Tyronn Lue does when he does come back. But I don't think he comes back in this series. And we'll see what happens moving forward. All right. That's it. That's all, folks. That's all the series. I will be back next week to give you that good word. Definitely by next week, there'll be a lot less teams. Scoring update: Miami is losing 31-47 to Boston. It's going on halftime. Sheesh. OKC and New Orleans hasn't started yet. The Lakers and Nuggets play at 9. That hasn't started yet. It's not looking good for Miami. Maybe it does go 5 games, which I knew Miami would get a game, but man, no Jimmy Butler and no Terry Rozier. It's tough, man. I'm not sure with Terry Rozier if he's coming back this series. They say it's next, so who knows? Doesn't look promising because if he's not playing or anything, I doubt he comes back. But yeah, that's tonight's show. Stay tuned. I will be back next week to give you that good NBA talk. But yeah, another additional points in the paint. And again, if you do want to tweet me below, my handle is there. If you want me to touch on anything, hey, if you want to jump on the show and talk shop with me, tweet me and we can set it up. That's no problem at all. All right, I'm Sam. I'm signing out. I'm going to leave y'all a little. Ain't even come from it. And when you boys got bitch, you had to run from it. Cash flowing, label bread out your trigger. Shit we do for bitches, he doing for niggas. Jet switch change, wicked. Spinning like you tryna fuck, boy, you tripping. Drizzy tripping down, probably got your bitch in there.